Hello, everyone. This is the Cinema Twins, and we are here with James Allen McCune, who is the star of the new Blair Witch movie. How are you doing today, James?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We are fabulous.
Doing
Good.
good, doing good. Very excited for the interview. Thank you again so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for letting me hang out.
Awesome. So we're going to start off with a few, pre-production questions.
Sure.
What was the casting like? Was it like a normal casting process, or did you know that it wasn't just for something called The Woods?
It felt like a normal casting process. It was, the standard avenues and stuff of my manager / agent calling me and saying, hey, we have, audition for this weird thing. It's Adam Wingard's new film. And that's kind of all I had to go on, because it was called The Woods at the time, under that code name. So I just went in to Deb Aquila casting, who I had seen like once before. So no one really had much experience with me either. So this was kind of a blind date in a lot of ways. Nobody knew what to expect of each other and stuff. So it was, I didn't get let in on the secret until after I had already signed the contracts and, signed my soul away.
What was that like when you found out that it was like the new Blair Witch movie?
I lost my mind. Like, we were, I'm not a huge horror buff. Like, I don't know dick about any of that stuff. So it completely flew over my head how big of a deal that was at the time. But there was still this like sense of awe behind the name. I knew about the Blair Witch Project, and so it was something I was keenly aware of, and even not knowing that universe, that there was something important about the Blair Witch Project. So that was awesome. I was so stoked when I found out what it was.
Yeah, Ashley and I were really excited with the Comic-Con reveal. That was such a big deal, and everyone was so surprised, and it was kept a secret so well, I think. And I was already excited when I saw the trailer when it came out as The Woods, and then when it was revealed as Blair Witch, Ashley and I were like, oh, wait, we haven't even seen the original. So we immediately went and watched it, and we were pretty impressed with, how it totally took off with the whole found footage genre, and it built that genre basically.
Yeah, this is the part of the conversation where any self-proclaimed horror buff would say, well, it's not the first, but it was still easily the one that kind of put the bullet in the barrel, so to speak. That's the one that kind of made it famous. And
exactly.
Yeah, Comic-Con I was lucky enough to go to that. That was probably one of the coolest parts of my career, I think. Me, Brandon Scott, and Wes Robinson. Brandon played Peter and Wes played Lane. We grabbed some friends, girlfriends. We all drove down to San Diego, and there was something kind of cool about seeing all of these like unsuspecting people lined up, like hours in advance for what they thought was just Adam's new film. They didn't really know what they were getting themselves into. So it was so rad to see everyone kind of in the middle of the film start to gather what was going on, because there's no title card. It just starts, and the diehard fans kind of started to get an inkling when at the beginning you see, this was footage collected from the forest of Burkittsville, Maryland in 2014, whatever. That's kind of when people started to get an idea, like, is that, because if you know anything about the original film, it's set in the same place. So
yeah.
People started to get an idea, and they didn't know for sure until you hear Callie, who plays Lisa, say the words Blair Witch about 5 to 10 minutes into the film, and that reaction from the crowd of like, wait a minute, wait, what are we watching? Everyone was kind of whispering to each other, and they gasped, and the whole crowd completely flipped. It was the coolest thing. It was so rad.
That sounds amazing. That would be probably one of the coolest things on being on the inside of the whole deal, to get to see everyone react to that.
And it's
that secret It was stressful, but there was something really fun about knowing something the rest of the world didn't, and it was super cool. I had conversations with y'all even, or I know our friend Christian, at least. He actually, we have a mutual friend named Christian that I had a talk with. He was trying to guess what the movie was, and he initially said Blair Witch, and I just flat lied to him.
Christian actually told us about that. He was like, man, I knew it was Blair Witch from the beginning. We were like, no, you didn't.
Everyone said that. Like, I just lied to everyone. I felt terrible about it, but for like a year and a half, I had to completely, save face and just say whatever to get away from everybody's ideas. It was really fun.
Oh my gosh,
awesome.
I could not. I'm such a terrible liar. But so you were talking about when you just knew it was Adam Wingard's new film. Were you a fan of his? Like, had you seen The Guest or You're Next before you went to audition for him?
You know what's crazy? The first VHS film. It's a combination of a few different filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I had actually auditioned for that while I was still living in Atlanta. And I had been cast in it and was going to work on it. With David Bruckner, the director of his portion. And then I was gearing up to film the thing, but had to bail because we were doing the premiere for The Walking Dead. So I actually couldn't. I was almost in an Adam Wingard film way before this one.
That is so interesting. I love VHS. I knew that he directed one of them, but I don't know which one that he directed.
Well, he directed there's, like I said, there's a few different directors for each VHS film, because the way that they're formed is that there's kind of films within a film, and Adam and Simon kind of did the wraparounds that formed why all these films are being played one after the other.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense because we're fans of the VHS movies, and like we're fans of kind of those kinds of horror movies where you just see short ones in between. And so we were trying to think, we were like, which one would have been Adam Wingard and things like that. But we were really big fans of The Guest. And so when we found out that he was directing this, that you were going to be in, we were just so excited and so stoked. And we loved the movie. I'm
so glad.
We had such a good time in the theater. Like, Ashley and I were just so excited, and just everything that they built on worked so well. Everything they just added on to the lore of the Blair Witch, and it just, everything worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice to hear. There's been a lot of back and forth about whether or not people like it, and that's been a really interesting. I think the most interesting part about this entire process for me, as an actor, has been to kind of sit back and watch the world respond to something like this, and the first movie was such an enormous product of its time that it was a perfect storm for that movie to be the most successful movie one of the most successful movies of all time, and to this day the most profitable movie of all time.
Yeah.
And it's been really interesting to see the climate, how people have responded to our film, in kind of the opposite way. And it's like really interesting to see with all of the remakes and sequels that are out right now, how people have responded to this one. Well, just knowing those films.
Yeah, and I think that is a big part of it, because I think people who are so into the first one, and they're just people who are so dead against sequels, and there is you can't do anything to please them. And I think it's important to go into this one like thinking, this is a new film that I'm watching. What can they do to extend the story and to improve? And I just think that everything worked so well that they added on to it.
I agree. And I think that the name Adam Wingard, for me, having him attached to it, it made me be like, well, obviously, and you attached to it, but it really made me be like, I'm going out to see this. And when I saw the first Blair Witch, I immediately fell in love with it because, well, I don't know if Christian has ever told you about our camping trip, but I hate the woods. it scares me. I'm terrified. I don't like it. And so this movie, the original and this one especially with the insane sound design, just got under my skin and I was terrified the whole time. It's probably the scariest movie I've seen all year.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there's something inherent about the loneliness of the woods that's like really disturbing. And it was cool being out there because we shot the thing up just south of Vancouver, kind of towards the border of Washington. We couldn't shoot in Maryland proper because of just, financially we had a longer availability to the woods in Vancouver than we did over there. So we ended up shooting in just like the deepest part of the woods south of Vancouver. It was so disturbing, like actually upsetting being out there, because you knew that if you were to walk out into the woods and get a little bit turned around, which has happened to me a few times, there was no way to survive it.
We were actually gonna ask about the set conditions. And
I was wondering, did anything weird happen? Like, you hear weird things about the Exorcist set and stuff like that. Was there anything that was weird, or was it just the general feeling of the woods that's just unsettling?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Adam really likes to. He does whatever he can, whatever possible to put us in the position of our characters, and so he would kind of paint this strange picture of okay, so he had this boom box that he would pull out before we would shoot, and during especially upsetting scenes where we had to really get into it, he would slowly turn up the volume on what was essentially chanting from Aleister Crowley.
Oh,
and this really disturbing soundtrack behind it that I don't know, there was something about that was really, really screwed up. And there were a few weird things that happened on set that we were concerned about. I remember one day we were shooting I think we were shooting one of the campsite scenes. I won't say which one, but it was a big set piece with a lot of I'm trying not to ruin anything.
I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. When we get to,
yeah.
Yes, we wake up and the campsite has changed in a big way, and so that by itself, middle of the night, that's really screwed up alone. But I remember we were kind of in between takes, and we had a couple extra hands on set that day. There was a makeup lady who hadn't been with us before. She came up and was doing touch-ups on me, and was almost on the brink of tears. And I was like, is everything okay? Can I get you anything? What's going on? And she was like, there's something evil here. And then walked away.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
And it was so screwed up. And I was talking to Adam later, and he was like, if you want to have a seance and talk to the dead, they say all you need is some idols, you need some chanting to the devil, and you need everyone to really believe in what's happening. And he's like, we're acting right here. We got all these little symbols hanging from the trees. It's like, if we wanted to talk to the dead and speak to the devil, this is pretty perfect conditioning for it.
Man.
And I was like, oh, okay, good. So we're like...
that just sounds like good directing to me, specifically for a horror film. That's definitely what that sounds like to me. Now, when Ashley and I saw the trailer, when it was Blair Witch, and you see you saying those iconic lines, "I'm so sorry." Mm-hmm. What was that like, knowing that you were going to be bringing that back and also seeing it for the first time?
That was actually not written. We had a few moments throughout the script that kind of winked at the original movie. Aside from just structurally, we had a few beats that we were for sure trying to say, okay, this is a similar situation.
Yeah.
But that in particular wasn't planned to be like that.
Oh, wow.
We were just kind of doing, because it's actually the end of the film where that happens. You've seen it, and so it was one of those things where I saw it in the trailer and I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea to like put in there.
That's what I thought too. I think
there's a lot of moments. If I'm honest, there's the trailers in general. The app, once it was named the Blair Witch, in my opinion, gave away too much. So if you haven't seen the movie now, don't watch the trailers before you do. Watch The Woods. When the movie was called The Woods, we released this really elegant trailer that was very subtle and I think sets the tone a lot better than these other trailers do. They're still great trailers, but for my taste, I'm more of a, if you can help not seeing anything before you see a movie, that's the best way to watch a thing.
Oh, we're the exact same way.
We say that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, and I don't know the art behind selling a film. I don't have that knowledge. But for as an audience, like as a viewer, I really value the surprise of what I'm seeing, and there's something about, especially horror movie trailers nowadays, that they really try to beat you over the head with the fact that it's scary. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the prerogative, is that this movie's scary. Come see a scary film. Sunday. And that's not what these films should be, in my opinion. I mean, they're just character stories, and they happen to be frightening ones. I don't think that they should be marketed in a way that's like, the main draw is the fact that they're scary, and I feel like in a way these trailers they lean on that a little too much, in my opinion. So anyway, that's a lot of inside baseball, but
that's great.
I feel like that I'm so sorry line just came from a place of like, I didn't, what else do you say in that situation? I just kind of said it and or started to, and Simon approached me, the writer Simon Barrett. He approached me and he was like, keep doing that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's so great.
So, I can't take 100% credit for it, but it was certainly an honest moment that was kind of cool that we found on the day.
Yeah.
It's just real. It's like, Mike James as a character is the emotional backbone. The entire film, he's in every single situation, and it's crazy how long it goes on for, but he is completely sturdy the entire film. He's a rock for every single person in the movie. Everybody kind of has a moment where they're like, screw this, and he's always like, it's okay. Even at one point he kind of is in agreement, we should turn around, but he still says it's gonna be okay. Like, there's this optimism in everything he does.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful to me to have this person who has a through line of, everything's gonna be all right, I got you, look at me. Even he says it to Lisa in one of my favorite shots of the film. She kind of has it's unclear what happens, but she has a total mental breakdown, and James is like, look at me, I got you, you're okay, just breathe, I'm gonna take care of you. There's that is the through line for him the entire film.
I really thought that was one of my favorite parts of the movie that I felt like we didn't really get with the original Blair Witch. In this one, there was the development of the characters, and that scene where Lisa is in the tunnel and she goes back to what James had told her, and I was just like, that's brilliant. It really cemented the movie for me.
It's just good writing, and there's something really wonderful about that, and then at the same time really disturbing about that at the end of the film when James is like, I'm sorry, like he can't pull through anymore. It's like, this is it. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, dude, we gotta earn that.
Yeah.
No, you gotta spend the whole movie understanding that James is this backbone in order to really get the gravity of why him saying I'm so sorry is so disturbing. And when you go into a found footage film, you're told just by the nature of this medium that the implication is that these people never made it out alive.
Yeah.
So the idea is that these people were never seen again from the beginning. So it's not really a spoiler to know that this is a hopeless journey for them.
Oh yeah.
Which makes it that much more exhausting, like having to be there with the characters and like just everything that's happening, and yet you still have some semblance of hope.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, Pete, again, you cut out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I said that the fact that from the beginning you're, supposedly know that they didn't make it out, has this crazy. It makes it very exhaustive. The journey getting there.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you said. Yeah, no, it's kind of I mean, the movie gets really relentless in the end. I mean, it's like this slow, kind of respectful journey through the woods for the first 2/3, but that last third, we're all so proud of that last third. Even a lot of the negative reviews I've read have been like, the last third of the movie is awesome.
Yeah.
And
no, in my mind. Yeah, in my mind, knowing that's sorry. In my mind, knowing honestly, I don't see any problems anyone could have specifically with the last third of that movie. It is so intense and just grabs you and does not let you go.
Yeah, I mean, we're all so proud of that. That's kind of the whole, and they knew what they were doing. That was such a calculated thing. Like, but at the same time, they put a lot of trust in, especially. With me, I mean, they put a lot of trust in Callie, of course, but yeah. I feel there is this really heavy weight, literally, on me to take care of that last act of the film, because a lot of that I filmed myself.
Yeah.
We had to, just because the film is kind of shot from our personal perspectives, so we learned after a while that it was just a better idea to put me behind the camera, especially when it came to really powerful, connection moments between characters. It just made more sense for me to be behind the camera. So that last act of the film, when it was from my perspective, that was me, and filming it. And so I'm very proud of it, just because that's, I had a big hand in it, and they, at the time that was scary. It was like, oh my God, this is the whole. Every single thing on screen is up to me. I had to light it, I had to film it, I had to act in it, I had to voice everything.
That's amazing.
Well, you did a great job, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You did such an awesome job.
Very cool.
Yeah, well, because so much, especially with found footage, so much depends on good acting. And, all of you guys killed it. It was awesome. It was such a pleasure watching you guys, and it has been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you guys so much. That really means a lot. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, and we cannot wait to see where your career goes, because you're going to do big things, man.
I hope so.
You really will. Well, thank you so much again for talking to us. It has been fabulous. And everyone out there listening, thank you guys too.